तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मायं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुन् श्रीयुतापतकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं स्वावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavad Pranam, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, 5th chapter. Verse for today is 25. We hand over to you, Prabhu.
Okay. Narayan Namaskrityam Naram Shaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Didita Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavate Yutam Shloke Bhakti Bhatinashtaki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So you read the Sanskrit. Tama Sada Api Bhutta Dev Vikurvanat Abhun Mabha Tasya Matra Guna Shabdo Lingam Yadrishyayo. Translation by His Divine Graces Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. From the darkness of false ego, the first of the five elements, namely the sky, is generated. Its subtle form is the quality of sound, exactly as the seer is in relationship with the seen. Are you going, Prabhu? You can read the purport.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The five elements, namely sky, air, fire, water, and earth, are all but different qualities of the darkest of false ego. This means that the false ego in the sum total from the Mahat Tattva is generated from the marginal potency of the Lord. And due to this false ego of lording it over the material creation, ingredients are generated from the false enjoyment of the living being. The living being is practically the dominating factor over the material elements as the enjoyer. Though the background is the Supreme Lord, factually, save and except the Lord, no one can be called the enjoyer. But the living entity falsely desires to become the enjoyer. This is the origin of false ego. When the bewildered living being desires this, the shadow elements are generated by the will of the Lord. and the living entities are allowed to run after them as after a phantasmagoria. It is said that first the Tan mantra sound is created and then the sky. And in this verse, it is confirmed that actually it is so, but sound is the subtle form of the sky. And the distinction is like that between the seer and the seen. The sound is the representation of the actual object. As the sound produced speaking of the object gives an idea of the description of the object, therefore, sound is the subtle characteristic of the object. Similarly, sound representation of the Lord in terms of his characteristics is the complete form of the Lord, as was seen by Vasudeva and Maharaja Dasharatha, the fathers of Lord Krishna and Lord Rama. The sound representation of the Lord is non-different from the Lord himself, because the Lord and his representation in sound are absolute knowledge. Lord Chaitanya has instructed us that in the holy name of the Lord, as sound representation of the Lord, all the potencies of the Lord are invested. Thus, one can immediately enjoy the association of the Lord by the pure vibration of the sound representation of his holy name. And the concept of the Lord is immediately manifested before the pure devotee. A pure devotee, therefore, is not aloof from the Lord even for a moment. The holy name of the Lord, as recommended in the Shastras, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, may therefore be constantly chanted by the devotees aspiring to be constantly in touch with the Supreme Lord. One who is thus able to associate with the Lord is sure to be delivered from the darkness of this created world, which is the product of false ego. Tamasi ma jyotirgama. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. So the verse for today I'll repeat. From the darkness of false ego, the first of the five elements, namely the sky, is generated. Its subtle form is the quality of sound, exactly as the seer is in relationship with the seen. It's a beautiful purport. It gives us an in-depth technicality of the holy name. Now, we find that creation, it will be again explained in the third canto, but the creation takes place in 9 different ways. And this false ego is created from the Mahatattva. Now, false ego is the cause of sky, air, fire, earth, water. There are different qualities of darkness of false ego. So it means false ego is a sum total of Mahatattva generated from the Tatastha Shakti of the Lord, makes every living entity to lord over the material nature. So we find that why do we want to become like enjoyers? It's due to our false ego. You find that to give up false ego or to make the false ego finer, it takes very long. Because we all carry this false ego of I and mine. That means I am the enjoyer and this belongs to me. And this ankara is the energy of the Lord also, because it's one of the elements which makes the jiva to load over the material nature. We find that every living entity wants to enjoy the material nature. And whatever he sees, he thinks, let me enjoy this. In this way, he becomes more and more bonded and more binded, rather, that he can't come out. But the more you try to force your way out of the 3 modes and your pride, you become bonded. Sri Prabhupada explains that every living entity is proud to be an enjoyer, which in reality he is not. Factually, Krishna is the enjoyer. We know that in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the last verse, Bhoktaram Yagyatavasham Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Shurdam Sarva Bhutanam Vidatamam Shanti Richati. That the Lord says, I'm the enjoyer, Bhokta, not you. Like we like to enjoy so many things. Whatever we see, we want to enjoy. Prabhupada gives an example. When a man sees a woman, he wants to enjoy the woman. When the woman sees the man, she wants to enjoy the man. So both are fake Purushas. Fake Purushas means not really enjoyers. Real Purusha is Krishna. Is the real enjoyer. In the Bhagavad Gita also in the 3rd chapter, almost towards the end, it says, Prakati kriyamanani gune karmani sarvasha ahankara vivodatma kartam iti manyate. Living entity due to false ego thinks that he is the doer. He does not know that in actuality, everything is done by the 3 modes. This is just due to false ego. And we have to overcome the false ego. False ego cannot be overcome easily. Because more you try to give it up, the more stronger it becomes. It's just another kind of Maya, or it's a kind of a curtain between us and Krishna. Same false ego, if it is converted to real ego, then we'll learn, we'll get the knowledge that actually we are servitors of Krishna. And we are meant to serve Krishna, not to enjoy Krishna. So, how can that be attained? Is by engaging in devotional service, especially taking the shelter of hearing and chanting about Krishna. If you take association of devotees and hear and chant, you can understand things as they are and come to realize that this false ego actually is an obstacle or a wall between me and Krishna. So now, due to false ego, what is the result? Prabhupada uses the word that we run behind phantasmagoria. Phantasmagoria means dreams. In front of eyes, we have a whole dream, a whole picture. And in that picture, it can be so many things. Just like when a man wants to enjoy, a young man wants to enjoy a young woman, then he thinks of marrying her. I mean, associating, marrying, getting children, a home, wealth, motor car, property, and so many things. This all appears like a picture, which we call it like desires. And without those desires, it's not going to work. Prabhupada says that is not easy to give up that phantasmagoria. But the scriptures say it's just a phantasmagoria comes from the word fantasy. It's just a fantasy created by the mind. So we run behind this phantasmagoria, try to fulfill all the dreams. Imagine you saw some beautiful, nice-looking car, and then you run behind and try to find out where I can get this car, and you want to buy the car. So this is the way the phantasmagoria, you chase behind the dream. It can be a car, it can be women, it can be furniture, it can be many, many items. Not necessarily just a woman, it can be so many things. In this way, who is not chasing the phantasmagoria? Everyone. So, the further information given in this verse is, where does the sound come from? The sound creates the sky. Tan matra is the sound. Sound is a subtle form of the sky. For example, we are holding this mobile phone. The mobile phone is working because there are waves going through the sky to another phone. And we can talk, we can see, so many things we can do. It's an instrument which can be used in many, many ways. So this is a proof that sound is a subtle characteristic. Sound created is a subtle form of sky. And sound uttered gives us an idea what that object can be. Simple example is like you're sleeping at night, and if a dog barks, the sound makes you realize, oh, it's a dog barking. If it's a cat barking, you realize that, oh, it's a cat bark. And at least you get a kind of a picture of a cat within your mind. Or if there's a car hooting, then you get know that, oh, somebody has come to the gate. Similar way. Sound is able to bring about the picture of the object or the characteristics of the object in front of you. Sound is very, very powerful. Now imagine the sound. It is through sound everything is created. As you read the Bhagavatam and also other scriptures of the world, they say the same thing. That originally it was sound. From the sound came the sky. From the sky came the fire, and then the water, and then in the end the earth. So each is the finest is the sound. And this sound is, here now Prabhupada speaks about spiritual sound, like the Mahamantra, is this sound representation of Krishna. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Nam Nam Akadi Bauda Nija Sharva Shakti Tatra Pita Niyamita Smaranena Kala Itadashi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Turdaevam Midarsham Ihajani Nanuraga. That, O Lord, in your names you have invested all the energies, and you have many, many names like Krishna and Govinda. But I am so unfortunate, I cannot relish or I cannot enjoy them or I cannot speak them. The meaning is that within the sound, everything is there. But one who knows the name of the Lord can actually feel the characteristics of the Lord. Imagine one of you, as the purport is mentioning, Vasudeva and Dasha, both are the fathers of the Lord. Vasudeva is the father of Krishna. And we know in the Bhagavatam, whenever the word Krishna was uttered, Vasudeva, when he was in the prison, Krishna had been away for 14 years, imagine. After birth, Krishna had to leave. But you, time to time, would ask, what is Krishna doing? And whenever you think of Krishna, he knew my son. Same thing with Dashrath. When Lord Ramachandra left for the forest, the only way of remembering was the name of the Lord. And Dashrath was constantly chanting, Hey Ram, continuously. Because the name would pacify him. To him, name, it actually meant Lord Ramachandra. And in reality, it is, because the absolute truth and the absolute name, there is no difference. The name and the object are the same, or the name and the person are the same. So whenever you chant the name of Krishna, it is Krishna. Whenever you chant the name of Rama, it is Rama himself. So anyone who is chanting regularly will come to realize that the name is not different from Krishna. And sometimes when you feel that you are forgetting God or the Lord, the easiest way to remember the Lord is to chant Hare Krishna. The moment you start chanting, at once you feel the presence of Krishna. And as the chanter or the devotee practices and practices, he comes to the perfectional stage of remembering the Lord. And this remembrance actually soothes his heart, softens his heart, and purifies his heart. That is why sound is very, very powerful. Like we have this Vaishnava bhajan, I think it's by Narottam Das Thakur. Hari Hari Vifala Janama Gunainu Radha Krishna Nahi Bhajiya Jana Janya Shunya Vishakainu. In that bhajan he says Golakera Premadana Harinama Sankirtana. That the name came from the Golak Dhan, and that name is not different from Radha and Krishna. So chanting Hare Krishna is Radha and Krishna together. And I am so fortunate that I wasted my time by drinking poison willingly. Janya Shunya Vishakaina. Vishya means poison. I have taken poison by myself. So it's a very beautiful bhajan, which is sung by our Vaishnava acharyas. It means that if you're not chanting Hare Krishna, it means you're wasting time. This valuable human life will just go uselessly. If you go to the Ishopanishad, in one of the purports, Prabhupada says that the trees live. There are some trees which live even for 5,000 years, 10,000 years. But what is the use? They just stand at one place and live there, and the consciousness is very low. At that time, they cannot chant Hare Krishna. Or the blacksmith's bellow. The bellow is, in Hindi, they call dhamar. It's meant for pumping air to increase the fire, for the iron to melt. When you put some iron object, it needs very lot of fire to melt it. So this chest is compared to be like the bellow. You are breathing, but actually you are dead. Like these days in the hospital, if they want to make a person live a little longer, they supply oxygen through a machine. And in many cases, the person is already gone, but the machine is kept on. So when people come to see the chest is moving, they may think he's living. But people are being cheated actually. It's nothing like that. Yes, the lungs are moving, but the heart is slowly going and goes away, and a person dies. So still better is a human being who chants Hare Krishna, because the human life is very, very valuable. So we should consider the case of Vasudeva and Dasura. Both went through very difficult times. Vasudeva had to wait for 14 years to see his son again. He saw him only at the birth time. After that, he only heard the name of Krishna and heard about Krishna. Dasura, due to misfortune, we can't call it a misfortune, it was the way the providence acted. Lord Ramachandra left him, and in a matter of hours or days, he left his body, simply by remembering his son, Ram. So this is the nature of the holy name. So in both cases, sound is very, very powerful. So the devotee enjoys the company of the Lord by this sound representation and becomes deeply devoted and remains in contact with the Lord. You'll find that our 6 Goswamis, they will chant throughout the day, throughout the night, caring little for the body, little sleep, little bath, little eating, but always chanting Hare Krishna, continuously. And our Acharya Haridas Thakur, as we know that he chanted 300,000 names a day, that means 192 rounds a day, which is practically impossible now. But if someone can chant, he's a very fortunate person. But to chant like Haridas Thakur is not easy, with so much devotion, because he knew what is the holy name. So devotee keeps his company of the Lord and chants. So here Sri Prabhupada gives a simple understanding that Krishna is light, and this material world or Maya is darkness. We have several times discussed this verse, Krishna Surya Sama, Maya hai andhakar, Jaha Krishna taha nahi Maya adhikar. Wherever Krishna is like the sun, and Maya is like darkness. Wherever there is Krishna, there cannot be any darkness. So when you chant the holy name, this sun, who is Krishna actually, appears in our heart and removes all the darkness. So there are many, in our younger days, we used to speak this prayer, which Sri Prabhupada is quoting here. Tamasi ma jyotir gama. Take me from darkness to light. It's a humble prayer. Or mritasya cha amritasya. From death, take me to life. Or nectar. The prayer has many, many stanzas. But one is quoted here, Tamasi ma jyotir gama. So that's why we keep holding to our false ego. That is even a product of Tathastha Shakti. I think everybody knows the word Tathastha Shakti. Krishna has 3 energies. One is the Maya Shakti, the other one is the Yoga Maya, the other one is the Mahamaya. And in between is the Tatashta Shakti. So we should, it is our, we are free to choose whether to serve the material energy or the spiritual energy. But the false ego is a product of in between. In between means more or less material energy. But that false ego can be purified in the association of devotees, not otherwise. So in this section of Bhagavatam, verse by verse, we are given how the creation is taking place. And especially this particular verse speaks about false ego. And from false ego coming out the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether. And from the sound, the sky is generated. That means the sound is a certain form of the sky. In the beginning, there was nothing. There was nothing means nothing. The first thing was the sound. From sound came the sky. And then other elements, which are denser, 10 times denser, till we see the earth here. So Bhagavatam explains in the second canto and again in the third canto how everything is created. But everything is related to Krishna. Why should we follow Bhagavatam? Because when you follow Bhagavatam, by reading these verses, we'll be able to understand everything is connected to Krishna. And everything is coming from Krishna. So here, the example of so many examples are given that due to false ego, we try to become false enjoyers. In Prabhupada's lecture, he says, we all have a tendency to become purushas. Purushas means enjoyers, but we are fake purushas. The day we understand the real purusha, who is Krishna himself, then everything changes in our life. And we become better personalities and we are able to surrender to Krishna. Surrender cannot take place as far as this false ego. And even in that false ego, there's a subtle pride, which is very, very difficult to give up. Who doesn't want to give up the pride? Everyone wants pride. In the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Nirvana moha jit shanga dosha adhyatma nitya virivartakha dvendi vimukta spadeka samnai gachantya mudapadam abhyayam tat. That we should give up this false pride, become free from the dualities of the world, know how to surrender to the Lord, and we should know the way which can lead you to surrender. So this verse of surrendering, this Nirmal Moha is a verse Prabhupada calls it, a verse for surrender to Krishna. And if you read the purport, Prabhupada says that we living entity come to this material world, stay for some time, want to enjoy so many things, and then we get bounded. And then because of this bondage, we cannot come out. But in order to come out of the bondage, we can do it through the process of sacrifice or yajna. So the purport Sri Prabhupada is mentioning that in the association of the Lord, when the pure vibration of the sound representation of the whole Lord is uttered, then a devotee can actually feel the presence of Krishna. And if he's fortunate, he can actually see Krishna eye to eye. For him, it is not difficult. And to come to that stage as it is very difficult, but not impossible. Prabhupada guarantees all of us can attain this perfection. And this process is not difficult at all. It is easy. So we should try our best to come to the level of understanding what is in this purport. At least we should have this picture, how this earth was created, sky was created, and so on. When we have this knowledge, then we understand what is in front of us. Otherwise, it's difficult. Just like Another example is like a house. All of us are in a house, maybe small home or a bigger home. If you study the ingredients of the house, it is made up of so many things. It is earth, it is metal, it is cement, glass, and so many things. All these were gathered to make a house. It is still a product of false ego, and it is not permanent. Similar, our body also. It has the same elements, and we think that this body will enjoy forever. It doesn't happen. So we find that in the name of enjoyment, people build families, societies, nations, but the whole pattern changes. Because in the end, there is death. And death is not everything. There's another life and another life. The cycle goes on and on. So if you do not understand, if you cannot, we should try to understand what this purport is trying to explain to us. How everything is created to make our understanding or our knowledge crystal clear what is what. That's why I quoted that song of Narottam Das Thakur. Hari Hari Vifale Janma Gunainu. Manushya Janma Paya Radha Krishna Nahi Bhajya. Janya Shulya Vishya Khainu. He says it very, very clear. That though I have attained a human form of life, I never worship Radha Krishna. And I have been drinking this poison knowingly. It doesn't say unknowingly, knowingly. We all know Radha and Krishna is the supreme object for all the living entities. They can become purified and attain the love of God. But we are so, attracted to other glitter of the world that we do not worship Radha and Krishna. We get attracted to so many objects and try to enjoy all those objects in all our maximum capacity. That's why it says, there's a beautiful verse spoken by Mother Devahuti in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. She tells Kapila Muni with her folded hands, my Lord, my senses have become components of disturbance. And due to this disturbance of my senses, I have fallen into the abyss of ignorance. Kindly help me to come out of this asat indriya, asata indriya tarsana. Asat means impermanent, senses, tarsana means always demanding. Senses are ever demanding so many things. So you to come out of that, which cannot come out, is difficult. But if the senses are offered in the service of Krishna, then our false ego becomes melted. We become purified. And the real ego comes up, that I am the servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And it begins by surrendering. Sarva Dharma Parityajya. And Manmana Bhagavata. So let me engage my mind. Let me become his devotee. Let me bow down to him. Let me take refuge in him. This is called how we begin our process. So the purport is trying to explain in a very nice way the relationship between the sky and the sound. And the origin is the false ego. Because all these elements come out from the false, because false ego is created by Krishna. The false ego is a product of the marginal energy of Krishna. So that is the subject matter of this purport. If you understand this purport very nicely, at least you'll know what is what, and what to do, and how to rise, and make things very clear in front of us, so that we can progress in our spiritual life, come closer to Krishna by the agency of the spiritual master and other devotees. Hare Krishna. Any additions, any questions, please ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So you're saying the false ego is created by Krishna, and it's because we have a tendency to enjoy separately from Krishna. Yes. Okay. I just wanted to confirm.
Yeah. As you read, I think it's the third canto, there's a section where Brahma creates 9 different creations. And one of them is the false ego. So we can't blame ourselves, because from the false ego also we have been created. This material body is a product of false ego, ahankar. And then is made into so many things. So if we understand this and try to rise above the false ego, or the conception of the false ego, then the surrendering begins, not otherwise.
Yes. And also Prabhupada has very nicely explained that the sound vibration of Krishna is the remedy to get out of this world as well.
Yes. That is not just a remedy, it's the only remedy.
Only remedy.
Really, only remedy. Because whatever methods you try, it may work temporarily, but this one bears permanent results. And it takes the shelter of the holy name, the sound representation. It's very, very easy. It looks very easy, but very difficult to practice due to our false ego. And many times, even after coming closer, again we are thrown away. Again we come closer, again we throw away. This happens again and again, till the time comes when we actually settle at the feet of Krishna. It's not easy. It takes, for some it may take little time, others it takes a long time. But in most cases it takes quite long to become purified, get an attachment to the holy name. Very, very difficult. Though the logic is so simple, as the name of Krishna is none different from Krishna. Both are absolute. Nama Chintamani Krishna, Chaitanya Rasha Vigraha, Punna Siddhya Nitya Mukta, Abhinatva Namanamine. Beautiful verse on Chaitanya Charitamrita. That this name is Chintamani, like a touchstone, and is none different from Krishna. It is full of life, full of taste. Everything is there, Krishna. Sometimes some people say, oh, why you always say chant Hare Krishna? But in Hare Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, everything is there. There is bhakti, there is puja, there is strength, everything is there. You name it, it is there. We do not need to, it is complete. Purnam. Purna means complete. The holy name itself is complete. Anyone who is chanting Hare Krishna need not need to do anything else. Even Kapila Muni, while teaching to Mother Devahuti, he says, Ahabato Savapacho Ato Garyan. Garyan means so glorious is a person who can chant your holy name, not an ordinary person. Then he further explains that such a person must have taken bath in all the holy places, must have done all the rituals. He must have visited all the places of pilgrimage. Only such a person can chant your name constantly. So this is Kapila Muni speaking, who is Krishna also. So to chant is not easy, let me tell you. Or anyone who's chanting is not easy. But if we can chant, we are fortunate. But that doesn't mean that if we are considering ourselves to be fortunate, then we become puffed up. No. Rather, we should become humbler and humbler, day by day, and be compassionate to ourselves and to others. Then the chanting will increase, and you'll be able to dispense chanting to others also. And Krishna will be very, very happy. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Anybody else? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances of good Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for a nice class and explanation. I have a little question here. You said that sound created the sky, right? But isn't it that the sense object present in the material sky is sound?
Just repeat it again. Some sense object, you said?
No, you said sound created the sky, right?
Hmm.
Isn't it the other way around? Isn't it that the sound, that the sky created the sound?
It can go the either way, but the subtle form
Okay.
of the sky is the sound.
Okay, because I don't know. I've read that the sense object that is present in the material sky is sound. Maybe sound came first and then the sky. I'm not sure. That's why I'm just asking to clarify for me, please.
No, yeah, it's the other way around. It's from the sound the sky is created. For example, if you go right in the beginning of the creation, in the beginning, Brahma was given the sound tapa. He performed tapa.
Yes.
After that, he was given the Vedas. Then for the creation, the sky was created from the sound. This is sometimes, or in some verses in Bhagavatam, it also says that the original sound was Om, from where everything came. When you say Om, it's subtle sound. It is the sound itself, from which everything came. Pranam mantra, origin of everything. So many times.
So in a sense, we can say that the sense object is sound found in sky, isn't it?
Yes, it can be said also like that. Okay. Prabhupada mentions it. Let me read it for you. See, the second paragraph, it is said, the first tan matra, sound is created, and then the sky. It's very clear here. The first the sound is created, and then the sky. You can
yes, Prabhuji.
The,
but then it's first sound is created, then sky is created.
Yes.
Does it mean that sky came from sound?
Yeah. That means if sound was not there, sky won't be there. Sound is first, so the sky follows.
Okay.
Because the sky is there, the fire will be there. Because the fire is there, water will be there. Water will be there, then earth will be there. And there is a table to explain that, like this, the sky has sound. Then fire has a form added. In the water, there is a taste. In the earth, everything is there. As you read Bhagavatam further, each one gets added one by one. Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, like that. So in the earth, there's an extra item, is the Gandha.
The smell.
In the water, is the taste. Yeah. Then in the fire is the form. In the sky is the sound.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other comments or questions before we ask Pramila Mataji to sum up, because Mataji has taken the service of summing up all the classes at the end of the class. Hare Krishna, Pramila Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Prabhuji, I didn't take it on. It was given to me. So, Rukma Prabhuji, thank you for your valuable time and knowledge that you give us every week. And you explain this knowledge to us in such a beautiful, simple way, practical way as well. Please forgive any errors I made. I tried to make some notes and of some of the points I could manage to take in. So you told us that the false ego is the sum total of the Mahatattva. And our false ego actually wants us to be enjoyers and to be have the feeling of I and mine. We just want to enjoy this material nature. And this actually binds us to the three modes. But Krishna is the enjoyer. The Lord says, I am the enjoyer, not you. So the real Purusha is Krishna, who is the enjoyer. And in chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita, it says the living entity thinks he is the doer due to his false ego. And we are meant to serve Krishna by being devotees to Krishna and
Yes.
associating with devotees. So the false ego is an obstacle between us and Krishna. And we have so many desires, which is not easy to give up. We run behind these desires. And where does sound come from? Now, sound is the subtle form of the sky, and sound uttered gives us an example of an object. And you gave us a nice example of that. The spiritual sound of the Mahatattva is the representation of Krishna, one who knows the name of the Lord. And you gave us examples of Vasudeva, Krishna's father, and King Dasrath. In the absence of the Lord from their presence, they remembered the name of the Lord. And when we chant regularly, we realize the name is Krishna. When we chant, remember Krishna, we come to the perfectional stage of purifying our heart. So chanting the mantra of Radha and Krishna. If we don't chant, we are wasting our time. We are wasting our human life, which is very valuable. The sound vibration of chanting actually removes darkness. And Krishna is like the sun and Maya is like darkness. The false ego is a product of material energy, and it can be purified by the association of devotees. So first of all came sound, then the sky is generated. And the Srimad Bhagavatam shows us that everything is connected to Krishna. And the day we realize that Krishna is the Purusha, it will help us. We should give up the false ego and surrender to the Lord. The living entity gets bonded in this material world. But sacrifice will help us get out of this bonded state. So we should try to understand the creation of the earth and the sky. And if this purport helps us to understand how everything is created, and you told us like in Canto 3 where Devahuti pleads to Kapila Muni, I have fallen into ignorance. Kindly help me to get out of this ignorance. So when we engage our mind and bow down to the Lord, it helps us remove the false ego, which is the marginal energy of the Lord. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It's such a beautiful, practical discourse for us to understand and follow. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji, for summing up the class. Thank you, Prabhuji, once again. Hare Krishna. Can I request Parth Prabhu to close the session? Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for your class, Prabhu. And also thanks very much to Pramila Mataji for summarizing the class. It is also helpful. So also I thank to all the devotees who are assembling here. I request everyone, please unmute yourself and chant Hare Krishna mantra for glorification of His grace, Rukma Prabhuji. Please join. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vancha kalpa tarubhyasya
Vacha Patitanam Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Prabhu ki
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Ending the session.